This episode is brought to you by Utilize, the app that lets you rent anything to and from your neighbors. Rent paddleboards, trailers, bounce houses, and just about anything else. You can turn it into an easy side hustle by renting out the stuff you already own. Best of all, it's a greener way to live because you don't need to buy the party supplies, outdoor gear, or tools that you'll only use once or twice. Now just rent them, all for less. Download the app today. Utilize. YOODLIZE.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi Fruit Loop. What you know?
Did you know that the Netherlands is so safe it imports criminals to fill the jails?
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
I want to live there.
Why would you bring crazy to the Netherlands? Let it be
for
peaceful.
Jobs. Like they're trying to create jobs because they've had to close so many prisons. It says that it's closed down one jail after another. 23 prisons shut down their doors in 2014.
Wow.
Since 2014.
You know why it's probably so peaceful over there? Pot's been legal for years. Everybody's just chill.
Dude, I'm moving there.
I'm going to catch a charge so I can go live in a Netherlands jail.
Exactly.
So listen, can I just say, I don't know what I've bit off this weekend, but Friday night, I've got like 8 teenagers coming to my house to hang. And then the next day, 5 10-year-olds spending the night.
You crazy?
Like
you got a death wish or something?
I know, right? I don't know how I will survive, but here we go.
Them little ones are little screaming things.
No, they will be at the opposite end of the house. I'm glad I just redid that whole room. They can shut the doors and everything. I'm going to buy bean bags tomorrow.
Oh, man.
So we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Too Cool T-Shirt Quilts. You can go to toocooltshirtquilts.com/prettyliesandalibis. Check out the quilts, the pillows. You don't have to just use T-shirts. We've said in the past, you can use jerseys, hats, all kinds of stuff. Check her out. We're planning on another giveaway maybe this month. Maybe not a competition, though. We might just do a random giveaway and do a big live where we just chew the fat.
Yep.
So, okay. Let's all talk about competency because I think today there might have been a little movement in some stuff. I've been trying to read these tea leaves all day.
Oh, yeah.
So we know that the reports into the findings of her competency were sealed last week. Now, today, she's been scheduled for a remote hearing this Friday at 11 a.m. As of right now, I don't see any indication it's going to be off camera. It could be sealed at the last minute. We just don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. We will definitely cover this live on our Twitter if it happens.
Well, we should see Nate and them. Normally they put out the document they requested to be
right
in the courtroom video. And so,
well, it said something about a remote hearing from today, but I don't know if that means there was one held or if that was just like together with the actual filing for the Friday hearing. I don't know. I'm just going to put it out there and like, don't take my word on anything. This is my opinion, allegedly 100%. I think she's competent. I think we're ready to roll.
Yeah.
I really do. So what happens if we find out on Friday that she's competent? We know what would happen if she's not. And we'll talk about that a little more because I figured with this, it would be good to revisit competency and what goes into it and that kind of thing. But if she's competent, she would be transferred back to Madison County Jail and her hearings would probably start up super quick because they want to get these hearings in, especially her first appearance. Because if you remember, she was on camera for it. That's the day that they stayed the case. So she really she hasn't even been arraigned on the murder charges that came in May of last year.
Yeah.
We'll get to see her for the first time in a year.
Exactly.
I think everybody, I'm sure she'll have a mask on, but still, inquiring minds want to know.
What's that hairdo gonna look like?
Oh man, I always say she's gonna wrap that hair around them bars and make some curls. But she has to appear, I believe, for this arraignment. She can't waive her appearance. So
Yeah, I think so too.
if she's competent, then we will see her. And I'm telling you, what do you think? I really do think kind of that this is it and she's competent.
Yeah, I think it's too much movement for it to be anything else.
I think so too. We
In my
will see.
opinion.
If we're wrong, we're wrong. And that's kind of what we've all sort of assumed for a while. But I don't know. Today I just got a gut feeling something's moving. Now,
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. When you're medicated, things become clear.
right. Okay. So
That's the point in being there.
right. And the thing is, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but I think it's only like 1% of incompetent defendants are not competent after that 180-day extension. It's a very small amount. So if she's malingering, they know that.
Oh yeah.
These guys, all they deal with is competency. They don't care about previous mental illness she may have had, or we know she probably didn't have anything when she was doing this stuff. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just about the competency. So
Yes.
I think they will get that arraignment. Like, if she's declared competent on Friday, I would bet the farm we would have a hearing next week.
Yep.
They'll get it in. Something else. What about these filings from prior?
So all of Pryor's filings have disappeared from the website. The hearings are still listed on the portal to seal the docs, but a different judge is listed, Stephen Dunn. And that's because Boyce is on vacation from what we've heard.
Yeah, and there was a lot of rumblings online just before we went on. I was checking, but from what we've heard, Boyce is just on vacation and a different judge did that. So if you remember, we talked about these last night about the motion to like throw out the indictment, motion to strike the death penalty, disqualify the special prosecutor, all that stuff. So there was a lot of little personal things on that about the prosecutor. So I don't know if maybe that's why it's pulled, but the hearings are still listed in the portal, but it's just interesting with everything. So let's go back through, and we all know this, but we're going to say it. Her charges: conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception for the death of Tylee. Conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception for the death of JJ. Conspiracy to commit first-degree murder in the death of Tammy Daybell. First-degree murder for the death of Tylee Ryan. First-degree murder for the death of JJ. And grand theft related to Social Security survivor benefits over $1,000 allocated for Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. That's just in Idaho. We know that she has charges pending for Charles in Arizona. So let's kind of go back through the history of them taking out insanity defense in Idaho. And it kind of is relevant in this case. I think she definitely would have went that route had it been available to her. So let's talk about why there's not an insanity defense in Idaho.
So after the assassination attempt on Reagan, and I remember reading about this, Hinckley Jr. was found not guilty by reason of insanity. This guy was crazy.
Yeah.
Idaho abolished the insanity defense in 1982. Idaho is one of 4 states that have no insanity defense. They left it up to the courts to determine if a defendant is capable of criminal intent and if the defendant can understand what they've been charged with. Lynn Dunlap, who is an Idaho defense attorney, says this causes lots of problems because we assume everyone is mentally responsible for the crimes they commit, and it's just not the way it is. And I see your point. There are some people that legitimately.
It's true. I don't think it's as many as we would think, but I always give the example of the guy, like I think it was Miami. He was on bath salts and was like carrying a head down the street. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Did nothing to hide what he had done. And I just want to add that oh man. Okay, keep going. I want to cite the article that we're using.
Okay. So there's been challenges over the years to the removal of the insanity plea. Public defender Marilyn Paul challenged the ruling in the Supreme Court, saying it's unconstitutional, but that was denied. In the argument, she states that her client was deprived of his constitutional rights, due process, and the prohibition against cruel and unusual punishment, and the ruling to abolish insanity prevented him from presenting a complete defense. Her client was deemed incompetent and underwent a 90-day restoration, where at the end of the stay, a judge ruled he was competent after reviewing the report. Prosecutors differ on reversing the ban, saying it would open up cases to frivolous defenses. And I agree with it that, I did this because I was insane.
Mm-hmm.
And like we just said, there are some that really are insane. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a lot less than people that, claim insanity.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of times where they can claim it. It's just ultimately at the end of the day, it's like, does the jury buy it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to convince a jury that somebody's insane when they've done evil stuff, even if they really are. It's just juries don't buy it.
Yeah. So we know the process from Vallow and Lori. So let's look at it. So they're admitted for a 90-day restoration period. If competency is not restored, the defendant can be recommitted for an additional 180 days for a total of 270 days.
Right. So that's kind of where we are now. We're at the end of the 270 total days from the 90 days to the 180. So let's say she's not competent still. They would commit her for a year. And at the time this article was written, Fruit Loop, you sent me this. Can you, I don't know if you can pull it up. I just want to make sure we cite it. They state that the continuation into a year happens maybe twice a year. I think this article was 2017, maybe. So it's a really small number of inmates that are continued over to that year. She would be kind of one of the few, which would be par for the course with this case. But I'm telling you, I think we're going to get the news we want to hear.
So this is from Corrections 1. This is Allison Jean Smith, the Times News.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. So what happens at the end of that additional year? She would not be competent. Well, she'll stay committed with literally no end in sight as to how long she can remain committed. And only 1% of patients who are committed for a year stay later than that. It's usually stabilizing them, like you say, on the right psychiatric meds, and it's unusual that it even takes the 90 days. Most are released after 30 to 35 days.
That's important, 1%.
It's a really small number, and I think that's reserved for people that literally are incompetent.
Yeah.
That had raging mental illness that was known to others before the crimes happened. Now it's time for our paid sponsor of the week, Care Of. At every age and through every stage, Care Of is here to support you on your health and wellness journey. Vitamins and supplements are not one size fits all, which is why Care Of provides tailored guidance that evolves with you as your needs change. Stay on track of your health goals thanks to Care Of's daily packs that make taking your vitamins easy to stick to every day. Care Of is a subscription service that ships high-quality, personalized vitamins, supplements, and powders conveniently to your door every month. Take a short, in-depth quiz about your health goals and lifestyle and get personally tailored recommendations based on your answers. You can stick with what Care Of recommends or change up your packs at any time. I had no idea personally the supplements my body needs until I took this quiz. It was really eye-opening. So Care Of's products are made from good for you, clean ingredients that are backed by the latest science and research so you can feel good about what you're putting in your body. For 50% off your first Care Of order, go to careof.com and enter code WhatTheWorld50. Again, for 50% off your first Care Of order, go to takecareof.com and enter WhatTheWorld50.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
You know what I'm saying?
Hinckley Jr., when they showed him in prison, he was crazy.
Didn't he do that to impress Jodie Foster? Wasn't that like his reason? I mean,
Yeah.
So the numbers of those who are committed, though, are rising, and experts think that largely it's due to judges who are kind of erring on the side of caution. And what they don't want is to have another court turn over their decision through appeals. So that's, and that's a whole other can of worms, which is, are these state facilities equipped with the room and the staff for anybody who maybe sort of could be incompetent? It's a cycle. And I've read articles about how these state-run facilities are suffering.
Yeah.
Understaffed, too many people. So let's say that this goes on for years with no signs of progress. Ultimately, the hospital would kick that back to the court, and they would let the courts decide how to proceed. And this process can repeat itself indefinitely, and the cases are left hanging in the balance. Sometimes they will actually kind of drop the charges, and then they will refile charges if that person ever becomes competent. I don't think that's going to be the issue here, even if we find out she's not competent.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of she's not. Look, I don't know her, but I'm just saying, I've seen nothing to show me she's that incompetent. You know what I mean? So in a report from the Vermont Legislative Research in 2017, they found that in Idaho, only 2 out of 90 defendants were readmitted after 30 days of being deemed incompetent, and 8 out of 90 were readmitted after 180 days. So even then, it's a really small percentage of people that go back into the jail system awaiting trial and have to come back.
Well, I mean, we have to remember she's going to be medicated.
Right.
I mean, they're going to continue to medicate her. So,
and that's not going to be a choice. She will, she's going to be forced to take these meds because this has got to get through the courts. I hope she's competent. And I don't really know if that could delay the January trial if she hasn't been able to assist with her defense for all these months. I don't know how that goes. That's a question for Scott Reich. But the health facilities do not have bars or cells. If a person is deemed a danger to themselves or others, the Department of Corrections take over. But at the Idaho Maximum Security Facility, they averaged back in 2013 only 3 to 5 inmates in there at a time for competency issues. The unit is away from all the others. They still use controlled movements inside where you have to walk on one side of the hall, and it's very uniformed, and that's for everybody's safety. If they're still not competent, but they're not a danger to others, they'll eventually end up at the state hospital until competency can be restored. And also, even though insanity isn't a defense in Idaho, mental health can be a mitigating factor in sentencing. So let's say that she is found guilty of these charges, and we have no reason to doubt she won't be. At that point, when sentencing, because we fully expect the death penalty will be on the table for her, as it is Chad, mitigating factors in a death sentence are a much bigger deal in sentencing because you're potentially trying to convince the jury, give her life and not death because she's had some mental illness. But also, mental health courts can be where an inmate is dealt with opposed to a court of law if this goes on. In mental health courts, they can order treatments and medications, and they can also meet in groups with the judge. So it's a lot lax. It's not like a court of law. It's run differently. So Idaho recommends that when an inmate is found to be competent, that they're hurried to trial, because what they don't want is their mental health to deteriorate, and then they end up being incompetent and they didn't get these hearings in while the defendant was competent, because she can be competent. They have some hearings. Those hearings don't go away. The results of those hearings stay the same. They just pause again.
Yeah.
Do you want to pick up here? Or
No, I'm good. I was actually looking for an article. But yeah, no, I'm good. In a prior case, an inmate was in and out of competency. Once competent, they asked for a delay to gather reports from psychiatrists. The judge said it was questionable if the evidence would even be allowed in about mental health, since the criminal statute didn't include language related to the defendant's mental state. From TAC reports, treatment behind bars. In Idaho, the two remaining state psychiatric hospitals together only hold 145 patients. So, Ada County Jail in Boise, 838 inmates, and the state prison in Kuna is 1,653 inmates. Probably both hold more individuals with serious mental health illnesses than the two hospitals combined.
These numbers could be off because this article is a little bit older,
Yeah,
but just for scale, just you can see the numbers. It's again, it goes back to that taxing of public state-run hospitals.
Yeah, and they did say that the quality of care in these two state hospitals is surprisingly good.
Right, because you don't, look, I don't have much sympathy for people that are accused of murdering people, but you can't go in there and if you're trying to restore them to competency, you don't want to counter that with kind of the same set of attitude, I guess, from staff that a jail might have.
Yeah,
because you've got so many other inmates, you got to control it. You don't want to set these people off. The goal is to get them back in jail, back in court, and to trial.
Yeah.
So death row, I just came across this while doing this today, and this kind of finishes us up for tonight. There are currently only 7 men and 1 woman on death row in Idaho, and the longest serving inmate on death row has been there since 1983. And we're just in a time in society now where the death penalty, unless you live in Texas, if you're on death row, your time's coming. But it's not as common as it used to be. Even if they do get death, which I hope they do. You know how I feel about the death penalty, but I'm sorry. It's going to be decades, if ever, and it's going to be a big appeal process. It's going to be a lot. So
it's very odd, right? That you can be in a court of law, be found guilty, stacks of evidence against you. And I know every day they find somebody that was in prison wronged and they get out. They've been there 30 years or whatever, and they finally get out because of DNA or something. But when you have all that evidence and you're found guilty and there's no way that you can be innocent, like it's tough to sit there and watch somebody sit on death row that long.
Well, if you look at Sarnoff, who was the younger brother in the Boston bombing, I think just last week they reinstated his death penalty. How long ago was that? They have video of him planting these pressure cookers that killed numerous people, including a child. So for me, in a situation like that, who normally is pretty opposed to death penalty for just a multitude of reasons, why is this? I mean, he's at Supermax. He's not having a nice life. Look, El Chapo had tears in his eyes when they were taking him down to Supermax. He knew what was up. He ain't tunneling out of there.
Yeah.
But you do wonder at what point, do we house people on death row who, in like Sarnoff's case, we have video of him putting these things down that took life, that took limbs, that, you know what I'm saying? It's a whole other debate. It's a whole other episode. I usually don't even broach the subject because our listeners seem to be divided on it. We have, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We try not to touch controversial stuff too much because it's just not worth it.
Dude, I've been in a Supermax prison.
Have you? Yeah. Why didn't you tell me this? Were you visiting your daddy?
Yeah, visiting your dad. No, we did some ministry there. So
wow. I did not know that.
No joke.
You said one time, I think you said this in a really early episode, that they let you go in the cell and they shut it, and you said it was the weirdest feeling.
Oh yeah. No, we were in line for the bathroom and they were transporting a prisoner through, so we all had to clear the hallway. So they shut us in this cell.
Oh my gosh.
I was like,
I'd have had a panic attack.
One lady was in the bathroom. She got locked in the bathroom, couldn't get out.
Oh my gosh, dude. I would go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no joke. I didn't. Yeah.
No, I've been in a county jail with my dad, who's a welder and a fabricator, and they use him all the time doing stuff. So he just let me go in there with him because I was super curious. And man, not only did it smell bad, But we were in the dude section, and after they started making some comments, my dad was like, "You can go now," because he said, "I'm gonna end up in that cell right there if somebody else says something to you."
Yeah.
So I had to leave because they were being very vulgar. But anyways, so here's my thing. They're in jail. She's in a mental hospital. They ain't happy, y'all. You know, I saw on Reddit where Kay said, she had a really good point. Kay said, Lori loved like being outside, sunbathing, laying by the pool. She can't do that now. And Kay was like, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
so
the
we
little
sit here and
things.
say, well, she's in this cushy spot. Lori's not happy with where she is. I think if she has lost any of her mind, it's because she's not happy where she is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything other than that. But
them stripes are ugly.
they don't do nothing for your figure.
No.
You know, they say like if you want to look skinnier, don't wear horizontal stripes.
Yeah. You gotta wear them straight up now.
Yeah, it's deceiving to the eyeballs. But we're gonna keep an eye on this. I'm keeping an eye on that portal every hour tomorrow. If anything changes, we'll let you know. If we hear anything about this hearing, whether it's going to be public. As of right now, nothing on there that says it's off camera. So I think the girl's competent. I think we're going to have a very good week next week on this podcast because, you know, it's just going to be nice for the sake of justice that she's back in the pokey. She knows it's coming. She's going to have the death penalty put on the table. And, you know, okay, look what you've taken from so many people. So, not sorry.
Here come the justice wheel.
Let's
Smack
do it.
right in the face.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. I could be totally wrong and y'all hate me, but I'm just gonna say it. We think it's on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna. I think we're right.
I think we're on it. I think this is the
Hold
train's
on.
leaving
Put
the
your
station.
seatbelt on, people. Put your seatbelt on.
Yep. Buckle up. All right, guys, that's all we got for now. If anything crazy happens tomorrow, we will hop on. But until then, take care of yourself, and we will keep you updated on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And if you don't already, go subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that little bell, and share the podcast. We're trying to grow, and we need people like you sharing it with people you think would listen. So we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.